And it was like, was it well, apples to the core is like, and you know, it's like we will brave the weather, da 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 da. It's like, and it's almost like as that song was playing, I could see that things are starting to clear up in the future. So I liked that. I thought, oh, the symbolism or something about that. I thought that was somehow appropriate. I like that. And yeah, definitely it was like, yeah, it's like I had to drive through this big, huge storm, and then eventually things started clearing up. And I thought that, oh, things are good now. It's like, okay, I've gotten through all the storm of all the things that I had to do before the con. Now I can just drive and go to the con. I kind of like that. So, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's like, and there was one really funny side when I was driving. It's like, who are you gonna call? And it flips over to the next message. No one! You're driving! I thought that was amusing. That was great. That was someone at the Transit Authority has a sense of humor. I like it. So yeah, and again, yeah, definitely. There was just a massive line on day zero. It just, oh my gosh, it was awful. It was way more awful for everybody else because yeah, I was fortunate I had the sponsor line, which wasn't so bad. But yeah, so yeah, overall, not a positive experience with BronyCon 2019 so far. But yeah, but I do kind of like what they put in the to the BronyCon guidebook, if you will. Parts of it, I think I will read this another time, I think. But I do like the overall message of it, which is basically, yeah, it's hard, but there's going to be, yeah, it's going to be challenging, but there's new challenges, and what are we going to do next? And, you know, the memories that we made here will live on, and it'll be great. And my favorite line is at the very end, now go out there and enjoy the best weekend of the year! Roar! I like that. It's like, you know, after all this doom and gloom, go out there and enjoy it. And definitely right attitude. So, yeah, so I'm going to definitely try to enjoy the rest of the BronyCon, and just, it's time to adjust a few things. But I think overall it'll be fun. It's like, definitely, oh yeah, I forgot, tomorrow's Friday. It's like the Grand Galloping Gala. Yay! Normally it's on Saturday. It's like basically the day before the con ends, but now it's the day before the con ends, so it's gonna be kind of weird, but it'll be definitely something to look forward to. So roar! So I hope so. If you're here, I hope you enjoy BronyCon, and hopefully I get to meet you. And one way or another, I hope you enjoy the rest of your BronyCon. So roar! So until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on.
Ariel here, letting you know tuning into Ponyville FM is the best decision you'll make all week.
Fashion's getting old. Time has come to They took me out of my house, now I have a new home. I got the pills like a good girl and I got a new bone. I wiggle around my fake tail despite how they treat me. They make me feel so alone even when they're here. So many orders to tell me, I don't know what to do. I wanna run all the forces like anyone around me. So I run after my friends, but my friends wanna catch me. I'm not like anyone else, 'cause they just wanna hurt me. Stop me and touching me, but that's alright. 'Cause I know who I am, but still no one believes me. Now I see everyone else from a small window. They all seem so normal, it feels really shallow. So I wondered why everyone were against me. I thought that it's normal to be who I want to be, and they all got me crazy, but I just wish to be free. I wanna run on my voice just like anyone around me. So I ran after my friends, cooler. It's an improvement, darling. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It's an improvement, darling. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It's an improvement, darling. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It's an improvement, darling. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It's an improvement, darling. It's an improvement, darling. It's an improvement, darling.
Wow, that's really impressive.
It's an improvement, darling. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It needs to be about 20% cooler. Some kind of joke. It's gonna work. I know it's gonna work. It's gonna work out
will suit you just right. I can't wait to get started, but first let me set a few rules. It's of utmost importance the pet that I get is something that's awesome and cool. I have many wonderful creatures who soar in the sky, like a sweet hummingbird or a giant monarch butterfly. Better, but cooler. I see. How about an owl or a wasp or a toucan? There's so many wonderful creatures alike, so that. I have so many wonderful choices, just wait you will see. I need something real fast like a bullet to keep up with me. Sure, how about a fun one? They're cutesy and wootsy and quick as can be. Cutesy, wootsy, have you even met me? Now you're talking. Awesome, cool, got it. Now, Rainbow, my dear, I cannot express my delight. It's abundantly clear that somewhere out here is a pet that will suit you just right. I can't wait to get started, but first let me set a few rules. It's of utmost importance the pet that I get is something that's awesome and cool. I have many wonderful creatures who soar in the sky, like a sweet hummingbird or a giant monarch butterfly. Better, but cooler. I see. How about an owl or a wasp or a toucan? There's so many wonderful creatures alike, so that. I have so many wonderful choices, just wait you will see. I need something real fast like a bullet to keep up with me. Sure, how about a fun one? They're cutesy and wootsy and quick as can be. Cutesy, wootsy, have you even met me?
I decided to come back and take over again. This is far easier than I ever expected it would. Hold on. Who are you?
All right, every pony, take a seat. I got this.
I wake up every morning. I come downstairs. She's doing the dishes. She's great, right? A roommate who does the dishes. Only one problem. She cleans them with wubs.
Rubber dub dub, motherfuckers!
cooler. It needs to be about 20% cooler. It's an improvement, Donnie. It's an improvement, Donnie. It needs to be about 20% cooler. Oh, the Grand Gala is the best place for me. Oh, the Grand Gala is the best place for me. Hip, hip, hooray! It's the best place for me. Best place for me, for Pinky. Oh, the Grand Gala is the best place for me. Oh, the Grand Gala is the best place for me. Hip, hip, hooray! It's the best place for me. Best place for me, for Pinky.
This is Aerial Soundwaves. Stay tuned for your favourite electronic tunes and live DJ mixes.
Yeah, I guess these chats are contingent upon at least one person responding. Because then I don't know if I'm just... Well, I guess it would be recorded. So it would show up on YouTube. Well, so there's somebody saying hello, but maybe... That's not a quite a confirmation that they're... Okay, somebody says hi Ross. Okay, good. That sounds more like they're receiving. Okay, so I'll hit record and start in a second. Let me pull up my notes. Yeah, notes this time. That's something. Okay. This is the February chat with fans. This is another one where I just would want to go blah and then just shut the camera off and go back to work. Was hoping to have more out. I have done a lot this month, but it's been kind of distributed of a couple different things, so I'll just give an update. I guess the first one, sorry to disappoint again, I do not have the movie sample update video I was going to show you. Although I actually have an excuse for that one. I was making progress on it. I was discussing things with different people who were helping with animation and modeling. And I think it's kind of narrowed down between... See, at first I thought we had this nailed down, but we discovered some more stuff. The facial motion capture is narrowed down between two candidates. And when I was doing testing, what I found was my mustache confused the hell out of one of the software solutions. However, it looked really promising except for that, but it was like twitching back and forth between my mouth and mustache for the sensors. So I think I'm just gonna have to shave my beard when I do more tests. So I wanted to do this video first before I did that. I'll probably do that tomorrow or the day after. So my beard may be a little lighter next time, or it might not. I mean, this will grow back like that. So, yeah, I don't really like how I look clean shaven. I think I look uglier. So I may not make that public, but I'll definitely try and get a lot of samples in while I'm doing that. And if that ends up being the solution, then I'll probably just kind of, in the future when I need it for the movie, I'll just shave it after a video chat, then just do a whole bunch of recording samples for that. So yeah, but I think if I do that, it's going to be extremely promising. But even if that doesn't work, we have a backup a more expensive backup that should work. But yeah, this is the sort of thing where we really have to figure it out. Otherwise, it gets expensive if we don't. So, especially with one of them has like a 30-day trial. So sorry about that. What I've been doing in the meantime, I've been doing Freeman's Mind. It's not ready yet, but it's like a 50-50 chance it's going to be the next video. The other one I've been spending more time on is this one. Yeah, for everybody waiting on Freeman's Mind, I'm sorry. I'm kind of been going into mad scientist mode this month because these things I want to work on that this next video, it's almost gonna be a little bit like in terms of complexity and length, it's probably gonna be kind of like the games as a service video I did. However, it's gonna be much lighter. Completely different topic. But I'm sort of talking about stuff that just kind of nobody that I can tell seems to really be saying. Well, that's why I say mad scientist mode, because I feel like, am I crazy talking about that and like thinking all this stuff needs to happen? So this is one where I'm kind of, I'm absolutely hoping for audience feedback once it's done. And if you're upset that Freeman's Mind is competing with that, I've been putting off this video for at least a year, maybe 2. Probably a year and a half. So now I'm just kind of going crazy and I have to make it. So unfortunately, that's kind of becoming a trend with some of these side videos. But once they're done, they're done. So they're not something they're gonna need like 10 follow-ups. So what? Okay, it looks like chat's okay. I have to check periodically, so in case people are screaming at me that there's a problem.
It's an improvement, darling.
Let's see. So yeah, I've been dumping time into that, but it's yeah. Again, it's definitely has some layers of complexity to it. So there's a lot of supplemental material. Oh yeah, has 2 advantages over the games as a service video. One has nothing to do with the law, so that's not only that's a time and morale boost right there, and 2, I'm not going to be in front of the camera for that one, so. I don't have to memorize my lines, do all these different takes. So it's a little easier on me. Okay, other announcements. Yeah, oh yeah, well this one's...
For them. For me.
Yeah, if I had to predict, yeah, we'll see how my predictions turn out. If I had to predict, I'd say we have 2 Freeman's Minds coming and the side video coming for February. We'll see what happens. What? Oh yeah, now, this was just a side thing, but I thought I'd make it public. I got one email from someone who said they had a nightmare that I put all my videos behind a paywall, and so I just wanted to clear that's not going to happen. The way I look at it, if I have to start charging access for my videos, I'm not going to make it. The only possible scenario I could see that happening would be if the movie did really well, and then like an actual company paid a king's ransom for another movie, in which case you'd have to pay for that movie. That's the only possible scenario I could see. Something post-movie kind of level. And I'm not worried about that happening. In fact, I saw a video, oh geez, what was his name? It's an Asian guy who did all these like kind of funny FPS videos on YouTube. He had a ton of views. I think one of my favorites of his was like
I was brilliant.
it was like FPS hacking in real life. I can't believe I forgot his name. But or he had like a Home Alone spoof that was pretty fun. In fact, in his Home Alone spoof, I'm actually going to use that the way these stunt guys handle falling down. I'm going to use that as a model for some parts of the movie. I mean, not. Yeah, Freddie Wong. That was it. That's it, Freddie Wong. I remember I saw a video by him where he was saying where I think he was trying to branch out into kind of like Hollywood level stuff, that kind of culture, and it was really clear he was worthless to them if he didn't have Hollywood experience. He was saying that like if he had been an extra in a deodorant commercial or something, that would mean more than his entire YouTube career. And he has way higher production value than what I have. I mean, so yeah, so I'm not too worried about a company coming after me after I make the movie. But oh yeah, but I was gonna say the worst thing that would happen. Again, paywall's not gonna happen. If things got really rough, I might do an SOS out to fans and to see if like maybe somebody has property I could stay on, like a guest house on the country or something like that. And then I would just keep working from there. So yeah, I'm not above that, but it's not at that phase. So I just thought I'd put that to rest. Let's see. Oh yeah, and here's another thing. This is gonna be related to a future video. I just want to ask people in general. Let's say you're trying to run an older game on a fresh install of Windows. What's every trick in the book you would want to have ready? So you don't know which game this is. Like let's say from like late 90s, early 2000s. What software would you want to have ready that if the game doesn't work immediately, then having this software would work? Like for example, like the Visual Basic or no Visual C++ runtime files. A lot of older games want those, so you want to install all of those. Or sometimes older versions of PhysX some games want. Or if are there any like DLLs that like there are a handful of games that might want. That would help me out if you have experience with that. So you're thinking, oh yeah, there's a handful of games from like 2001 that are going to be looking for this file. Now, and these are games where those don't come with the installer. So like for example, a lot of older games might want like Bink or like Smacker codec stuff or like old QuickTime files, but those usually come on the disk with the installer. I'm talking about stuff that they're expecting Windows to have it doesn't have it, but it will work on modern Windows if you have those files. So I'd be happy for suggestions along those lines. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, I guess I'll mention this quick. My wife's Twitter is Amazing Magda. Her birthday's coming up on the 6th, so feel free to send her happy birthday message then. I think she might like that. So
It needs to be
okay,
about
I'll
20% cooler.
get on to questions if there's always a chance I remember something I
It
meant to
needs to be
say
about 20%
in the middle
cooler.
of it. But yeah, Freeman's. Oh yeah, I've also been working on Game Dungeon, but that's been. The next one's gonna be
It
the
needs to be
follow-up
about
episode.
20% cooler.
So I'm kind of taking my time with that because there's a lot of stuff I need to cover for that one. I probably won't even be able to fit it all in. So I'll have to pick and have to do another follow-up later on. But yeah, but Freeman's Mine and this side video I'm working on are what's coming out next. So let's see. Yeah, mythical follow-up number 3. Yeah, it's coming. I have some.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
You know, when I was working on this, I was a little worried this would just be like a little too mundane. It's like, okay, well, this is kind of boring. There's going to be some interesting parts in it, I think. I have something really cool, but I'm not sure it'll make it into the third one. Well, really cool to me, but
Improvement, darling.
if it doesn't, it'll make it into the fourth one for sure. Okay, yeah, let me get started. I'll pull up the
It
link
needs to be
here.
about
Oh
20%
yeah,
cooler.
I'm glad I looked at these because the first one I had to prepare for here.
Improvement, darling.
Yeah, oh, wait, I'm lost the chat. Hold on, I gotta put my windows in the right order here. Ross, if you were like the Moses of video games, what would your 10 commandments be? Yeah, okay, so I made my list here. This was tricky because I had to decide like what should be a commandment and what would be just sort of a wish a wish list. You
It
know,
needs to
like.
be about 20%
Well,
cooler.
I'll get to this. So I'll go with the ones that I think should pretty much straight up be commandments. I think I was even revising this like 10 minutes before I started the chat even. Okay, so number one, you guys probably know this one. Thou shalt not release games that cannot be played by anyone after support ends. So you do whatever you need to. Once you're done supporting that game, people need to be able to play it. You know, at the present day, if you shut down the server, they can still play it on a private server. Or doesn't mean you need to support future operating systems or consoles, whatever. It just means that, if somebody wants to preserve it, they can. So yeah, that's clear. There was no way that wasn't gonna be number one with me. Okay, 2. This one's controversial actually, and probably would cause a big upheaval in the industry, but I'm putting it up there. Thou shalt not have contractually obligated platform exclusives or actively prevent your game from running on other platforms. So I worded it like that because let's say you want to make a game for the Wii U or the Switch, or yeah, I guess it's Switch. And you're a developer, you know what? It took everything you had to make it for that. You don't want to bother with other platforms. Fine. But on the other hand, don't stop other people from trying to get it running at something else. Or there's been plenty of developers where we'd love to bring our game to PC or something, or to Xbox, whatever, but we're locked in a contract so that we can't. I mean, this is the crap that I've said it before, I know, that old movie theaters used to do. I want to say back in like the 30s and maybe early 40s, where if you wanted to watch the Warner Brothers movie, you had to go to the Warner Brothers theater. And I think it took a Supreme Court ruling to stop that from happening. Although I realized we're kind of heading backwards again, because now you have exclusives on stuff like Netflix or Hulu and stuff. However, at least with videos, those don't actively prevent them being displayed. You don't have to buy the Netflix monitor, or the Netflix or the TV or something like that. So if you really want to, you can record the stream and then watch it after that. But I think that would be the equivalent, is if you had to buy a Netflix rated TV also to watch the Netflix movie. And then if you wanted to watch something from Disney, well, now you have to buy the Disney TV. And like, I hate that stuff. I mean, it's just, it's really anti-consumer and it's wasteful. And I get why they do it, but it's like, what, these companies just can't survive if they don't do that. I mean, these are enormous companies now. I mean, it's not, I think the old arguments don't hold up as much. So yeah, but if you're a developer and you only want to make it for that platform, sure. I mean, a perfect example of that would be most games are made on PC are made for Windows, but most of them don't stop Linux users from running them. They're like, fine, great. We don't want to support it, but we're happy if you can get the game running. It really needs to be like that. So, okay, so yeah, third one. I should keep moving here. I mean, now I guess we're getting to more minor stuff, but we'll bounce around. This is the stuff that bugs me. They'll shall include options to turn off screen tinting, film grain noise, chromatic aberration, bloom, retro scan lines, and other effects that muddy the image if your game has that. So you can use those, blur filters, that sort of thing. I mean, that can ruin some games for me. Yeah, actually, that's with scan lines in particular, I notice a lot of like retro themed games will have that. Fortunately, most of them let you turn it off. I actually I've barely played Far Cry Blood Dragon because earlier you used to not be able to turn that off, though I think now you can. So I was thinking, I hate this. It's too distracting, like the horizontal scan lines. But okay, I want to say on a lot of old monitors, I don't remember there being you like really seeing the scan lines. I mean, on some of them you did, but like in an old CRT, did you like really see the horizontal lines? I mean, I don't know. I don't remember that so much, but maybe it's just rose-colored glasses. But yeah, I do need. Well, now that I can't turn that filter off, I'm gonna have to go through and play Blood Dragon because I was liking it otherwise. I think I only played like the tutorial, and then the scan lines bothered me too much. But yeah, so you don't have to compromise your vision. You just have to have the option to turn that off. I hate blur filters, film grain, tinting. I hate tinting. But yeah, okay, so that would be third. Fourth, thou shalt not force your field of view to be so narrow it can literally make people nauseous. I mean, yeah, that's a little broad, but you know, I mean, I think a lot of games that are offenders of this, the people who made them literally never played them like on a PC, like on a desk in front of you. I mean, look, I mean, I'm sensitive to this. My wife's, she's worse. I mean, there's a lot of games she has to turn. She's even pickier about field of view than I am. I mean, I think a lot of these developers, if you force them to play it on a PC, they'd be like, "Oh God, this is awful." I mean, like the original Borderlands, I think was kind of like that. The original Dead Space was. It's getting better now, but I mean, this should never have emerged. This had a re-emergence because it's like in the 90s you kind of didn't have this, and then like in mid 2000s, late 2000s, it came back because I think you had developers that just literally never played it on the PC. And yeah, that was gonna be the next one, Resident Evil 5. That one, I tried playing the demo. That one like literally made me nauseous trying to play it. Now again, there's a lot of hacks out there now, and you can clean up most of them, but it's like that's kind of inexcusable, you know. I mean, yeah, if you had a scope vision or something for like a rifle or something, sure, you know, okay, fine, it looks extra narrow for that part, but you know, it just. Geez, I have to find it. I remember an article on Borderlands. It was this big article where they were talking about like how like they discovered you know how field of vision is tricky and it's just like what the hell? This was like 2000. When did Borderlands come out? Hold on.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
Let's see, 2007, 2000. Borderlands release date. Okay, 2009. I think the article is like 2009, 2010. Or something. What? You haven't figured that out by then? By now? Yeah, you know, so it's that upset me because at one hand the article was interesting because it had all these technical details, but on the other hand, so it's like
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
this is a grand discovery for you. I mean, okay, so I should keep moving. Yeah, that one's bugged me a lot in the past. So. Thou shalt not release a game in an unfinished state unless you clearly label it as that. Okay, I think everybody can get on board with that one. Because, you know, I'm not against early access, but it should be early access. It should be, people should know what they're getting. Listen, if game development was done competently and not just under the gun all the time, then there would be no such thing as a day one patch. Because you would have ironed out as many bugs as you can find, and it's as good as you can get it without getting more user feedback. I mean, there's always going to be bugs, or usually that you didn't catch. It's like, oh, everybody's complaining about this now. Oh, we didn't know about that. But if there's a day one patch, that means you knew about the bugs. You know, they're there, and you shipped it before it was ready. Now, of course, that would wreck the industry and like drag it back to the 90s, I guess.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
You know, well, no, it wouldn't actually to label it. So fine, if it's a brand AAA title, or yeah, what's the latest one? Warcraft 3 Reforged. Okay, we need to label that as early access because it has a lot of bugs from what I'm hearing. So yeah, so it would, yeah, Ross, that's not how it works. Well, that's how it used to work. I mean, it used to be you had one chance. Early 90s games, I mean, you know, it's, But bugs are discovered after a game goes gold and spreads into CDs. After the CDs get pressed. Well, yeah. Well, okay, I guess. If there's a day, okay. I'm wondering, yeah, but for digital only titles, when it releases on that date, I mean, I don't know. Okay, maybe there's a little bit of wiggle room. But okay, there should not be a massive day one patch, put it like that, okay? You know, because, again, if it was developed perfectly competently, which most games aren't nowadays, then you would have nailed down every bug you knew about before it went gold. And then anything you caught after that would be the day one patch, which would be small because you couldn't have missed all that much, most likely. Whereas if we're talking like a 20 gig patch, it's like, yeah, the aiming is broken, or the game always crashes after level 3 or something, you know, something huge. Yeah, you know, then it, Russ has no idea what he's talking about. Okay, well,
It needs to be about
I
20%
think if
cooler.
you, I think I do, but it's more like I remember how it used to be. You know, again,
It needs
try
to be about 20% cooler.
if you release games today, if you went back to like the early 90s, early mid 90s, and released games the way you do today, you would go bankrupt because there was just a higher competency standard. So, I mean, I realize that's not how the industry works, but that's how I would push it. Well, again, I'd say you have to label it. So fine, you're taking all these shortcuts, you're working to the last second before official release, fine, you gotta label as early access. You can do that. The industry could do that. It's not gonna want to, but yeah, so I'm not saying you have to release a perfect game. I'm saying you have to let people know what they're getting, you know?
It needs to be
All
about
right,
20% cooler.
Let's see. I mean, yeah, just to be gonna have a patch. All right, next one. I should keep moving here. Oh yeah, again, this one would, well, actually, this one would upend current law, but it actually, I don't think it would make that, it really wouldn't be that big a threat to the industry, I don't think. Thou shalt not prevent non-profit fan games from being made. So yes, that would turn
needs to be about
copyright law
20%
upside down.
cooler.
However, you know, if somebody, because how often does that happen, that somebody makes a Nintendo fan game and then it gets shut down or something? Like what? Like those people aren't
needs to
going
be
to
about
want to play
20%
the
cooler.
next
It needs to be
Nintendo
about 20%
official
cooler.
game? You know, so if there's a Metroid clone or something and they try to stop it,
It needs
what?
to be
You,
about
you think
20% cooler.
because that came out, gamers, no, we're just not interested in the next Metroid because, officially from Nintendo. I think all like non-profit fan games should be legal. I mean, no, not for profit
needs to
because
be about
then you're
20%
taking the
cooler.
IP, which the company had a whole lot invested in. But that would be one of the commandments. You can't prevent them from being made. Yeah, but I mean, you could come after them if they were stealing assets, you know, on that level. So, but that wouldn't prevent the game from being made. It would just mean certain types of games would still have issues with it. So, yeah, it's just what I'm saying. Unless they outright steal assets. Yeah, that's fair. They can't steal assets, but I think intellectual property should be fair game for nonprofit stuff. And this applies to my things too, you know. Someone can make their own civil protection if they want. But, you know, I won't necessarily endorse it. I'd have to like it, but okay, so next one. Okay, this one's
It needs to be about 20%
probably most people
cooler.
don't care about it, but I care about it. Thou shalt not make it impossible to render your 3D game in stereoscopic or VR.
It needs to be about 20%
That doesn't mean you
cooler.
have to support it. That means you can't set it up in such a way that it's impossible. Because, man, so many games are shut off that I want to get into.
Don't
And
you use your
it's
fancy mathematics to muddy
it's
the
just
issue.
like a sea change for me. So, okay, I'll move on. But most people aren't on board with that one. But whatever, I'm making the commandments here. Okay, the next one. Oh yeah, but people might. This one's a little more PC centric. Thou shalt not use optimizations that break existing standards, making your game hell to run in the future. So, you know, when people, I mean, that was the whole point of things like Direct 3D or DirectX. Look, I mean, if okay, feel free to email me on this, bosswsky@gmail.com. But my understanding is if every company was forced to follow like the standards, like for the
It needs to be
APIs
about
that they're
20%
using,
cooler.
you wouldn't have this
It needs to be
issue
about
where you
20%
need to
cooler.
download new drivers from the video card manufacturer for it to run. And plus, this sometimes sets up a time bomb for future game compatibility. So but they'll use these tricks to get, you know, more performance that
Improvement,
are they're specific on having, they'll work with the video card manufacturers like AMD or NVIDIA to make sure these special
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
shortcuts are in there in those drivers and make sure they come out. But see, that's not a part of an of a standard. Well, somebody's saying not Direct3D, fine. Vulkan or OpenGL, it's not part of that library,
It needs
and
to be about
thus
20%
this stuff
cooler.
isn't well documented. So in the future, if you try to run that game on a different card,
It needs to be
or
about
hey, maybe
20%
those
cooler.
companies go down, the game may not even work properly or even run. So it's I don't know. Feel free to correct me on that, but my limited understanding of that is there's a lot of time bomb set up. I mean, that's kind of what was going on with the Phantasmagoria 2 thing, me barely getting it working. A lot of games during that era, they were taking shortcuts left and right that were non-standard, not documented, and then when you try to run them in the future, it's expecting these things that aren't there because it was never a standard, and it just sets things up to be hell in the future. So, okay, and the last one, I guess it's petty. Well, the last one before I get to the runner-ups, it's petty, but this bugs me, and there's so many games that I wish this wasn't the case. Thou shalt have the option to change the time scale for any game of the day and night cycle, unless it's